Hey, what's up? This is the series where I review my whole Steam library. So today we're starting with 1111 Memories Retold. We're doing it alphabetically, but we're not even at the letters yet. We're starting with the numbers because they are at the very top in Steam's library. So I didn't really know anything about this game going in. But now after finishing it, I can say it's a pretty short game. It took me around 4 hours. And I can also say I wasn't very impressed with it, but I'll get into that in a second. The game came out in 2018 and is from a French studio called Digix Art and an animation production company called Artman Animations. The story is about two people, Kurt and Harry, that for different reasons choose to become soldiers. Kurt is a German engineer. He's looking for his son Max, who was sent to the front lines as a soldier, and he's not sure if his son is still alive because he's not responding to any letters. And that's why, as a responsible father, he takes it upon himself to go to the front lines and look for him, which is pretty nice, pretty admirable. Harry decides to become a soldier because of Booba. There's an army major visiting Harry's home or workplace, I don't know what that is, and he's looking for a photographer basically to take pictures of the war. Julia, the girl that Harry has a crush on, is very impressed by the major. So Harry gets kind of jealous. He wants to be like the major, he wants to be cool, So the major senses that and kind of panders to his goblin instincts to get him to sign up to get the uniform.
Listen, I'm heading back to France in a few days. You should join me. Help your country, take a few photos, return home a hero. And remember, Harry, women love a man in uniform.
And it was in that very moment I decided I was going to war.
It works, so off we go to war. The following sequences are pretty tame. Harry takes pictures of the major in various settings, and Kurt harasses random people basically to ask if they've seen his son. Occasionally, he does engineering stuff too, though. They both arrive at the front lines on opposing sides, and through certain circumstances, Harry and Kurt eventually find themselves face to face. I won't spoil what happens after that, but that's the gist of the story. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the gameplay in general and the specifics. When I booted up the game, I couldn't walk around. I thought it was some kind of bug until I discovered around 5 minutes later that the default settings are very weird. Why would you use this as your default settings when basically every other game uses WASD to walk around? Another thing that happened to me, which annoyed me for a while, until I found the solution, was the horizontal camera sensitivity was pretty good to use, was pleasant, but the vertical camera, it couldn't be moved at all basically. But you need it for some quests, to look around, to look up. But the default setting for the vertical camera sensitivity was on 1% or something, so I had to basically violate my mousepad to just move the camera a little bit up and down. But setting aside my troubles with the controls, the gameplay is, in my opinion, incredibly boring. I haven't played the Gollum game that recently came out, but that's how I imagine it. There's a lot of, hey, fetch me that cable and fix this radio, or hey, go talk to the major over there and bring me his flask so I can fix my shit. But even Gollum has platforming, so I don't know what to say about this game. It's just a lot of walking around, looking for things, and being angry at the controls. It feels like the gameplay is something you suffer through to get to the fun part, which is the story slideshows at the end of a chapter and the very good voice acting, which I do give this game credit for.
Camera. Truth be told, I didn't ever want to go to war. I only ever wanted that uniform. Maybe one day Julia would look at me the way she looked at Major Barrett. After that, it was all a bit of a blur. So much happened over that next month. They signed me up, put me on a train to the coast. They even gave me that uniform.
You will think I'm impulsive, but to me there was no choice. Our son is missing at war. I cannot deal with doubt. I will not live with uncertainty. This is my path now.
There's some interesting mechanics that have an impact on the story according to the game. I haven't verified since I only played one time, but as Harry, you can send pictures to Julia, your lady at home, and this will basically influence her opinion and reactions, because she will send letters back, and I guess you can get different endings depending on what you send her and if she likes you or not. Kurt has a similar mechanic where he writes letters to his family, and you have to choose basically which option to take. There's like the, oh, war is depressing and I'm thinking about ending it all, or oh yeah, I think I'm getting closer to finding our son, dear wife. So it's basically those options. There's also a thing where if you talk to the NPCs during the chapter, you can unlock a special option to select when you write the letter. I gotta say though that most of the NPCs that you can talk to, they had nothing of importance to say most of the time, so they kind of felt like filler content to not make the world feel empty. I don't know if this is a hidden bonus or what, but most of the tasks given by the game are so boring, you won't expect when something actually cool happens. There was a mission, for example, where you sneak around this Kurt to spy on the enemy. He heard they were going to get attacked soon and had to report. He also heard them playing music and having fun. So later, when you're supposed to point out the position of the enemy, you can tell the sniper guy next to you, oh, this is where I heard the music from. The sniper guy will then see someone and kill them, at which point the perspective changes to Harry. The perspectives change during the chapter pretty often between them. So the perspective changes to Harry and you see your friend that you came to love in the time as Harry getting shot basically, and he dies. So that was the first moment I actually liked in the game. I was surprised by it. Yeah, but those moments are few and far between. But it at least shows that your actions do have consequences sometimes. Later in the game, when Harry and Kurt are in close vicinity, you can swap between them to solve puzzles, which in theory is an interesting idea, but it doesn't get used very often, so it feels kind of like a gimmick most of the time, and not really a cornerstone mechanic of like how you play the game. At some point, you start playing as a cat for a little bit, and even later you play a pigeon. That section was probably my favorite of the whole game. You fly around, do cool loopings, and there's like cool stuff to see. There's cool stuff happening. You fly through the clouds and there's a zeppelin flying around. You have to dodge the incoming planes to not die because you're a small little bird. And yeah, it was just, honestly, it was way cooler than walking around looking for the random NPC or the random item to progress the story. The last point I want to talk about is NPC voice lines at certain points in the game. In one section, you're in Kurt's house and you have to make breakfast for his daughter. You rummage through the 10 something drawers looking for items to advance the story, and the daughter has her NPC voice lines asking you about the war so you don't get bored. This is fine, but it got very annoying when she repeated the same 3 voice lines in 0.5 seconds intervals. There's another section like this later in a tavern.
Zu essen, weil Krieg ist. Warum braucht der Krieg das ganze Essen, Papa? Hat Lotti dir im Krieg geholfen, Papa? Ist Lotti eine deutsche Katze, Papa? Was hat sie in Frankreich gemacht? Meinst du, ich kann auch mal in den Krieg, Papa? Ich will auch gegen den Feind kämpfen, wie du. Ich hab solchen Hunger, Papa. Wenn wir den Krieg gewinnen, gibt es dann wieder Essen?
Also, it's cool that the German soldiers speak actual German when you play as Kurt, but then I'm confused why Kurt writes in English to his German wife. If you want to go for immersion, I think you should go all the way and have him speak German as well in the letters, or like have the dub be German. Also, due to the art style, it was a little bit difficult to differentiate between different people sometimes, but I would say this is a minor thing. So, summing up, what are the positives about this game? I would say the art style is interesting, not very common. The voice acting is very nice. I think I didn't mention it before, but Harry is voiced by Elijah Wood. I don't know if he often does games or what, but it's a pretty cool addition. The story is somewhat interesting. There's a couple interesting and cool twists, albeit they're kind of few, but yeah. And you can fly as the pigeon. On to the negatives. I think the gameplay is boring. The controls are annoying and janky. Like, if your whole gameplay is walking, then walking should feel crisp and good in my opinion. And the kitchen level, but that's, yeah. We don't talk about the kitchen level. So to wrap up, I'll have to give it a 5 out of 10. Do I recommend it? Probably not to most people. If you really, really like World War I and puzzles for 10-year-olds, then go for it. If it didn't have multiple endings or the choices matter mechanic, I would just tell you to watch
Joyeux Noël
or something else like that. It's not worth $25 though, so wait for a sale at least. That was my review of Memories Untold. If you want to hear more, I got another one coming out next week. And if you enjoyed the video, subscribe. Good luck.